So a warm welcome to all IITians to the Are You Ready to Be an Entrepreneur today? So the question is, how do you view the world? As an employee or as an entrepreneur? There is a big difference between how employees and entrepreneurs look at the world. For an entrepreneur, problems are opportunities. Failures are stepping stones to success. Hard work is fun. Everyone you meet is interesting. Time is the most precious commodity. What is a glass ceiling? You never stop learning. You never stop dreaming. On Netflix, you would rather watch 26 episodes of The Universe rather than 42 episodes of a Sony soap serial. And what are the consequences? Instead of taking a job, you create a job. You make life easier by solving problems. Problems sometimes nobody even knew they had. You make the earth a better place for everyone, every being, and the world thanks you and rewards you. Most of the richest humans are self-made entrepreneurs today. But the best reward is you stop aging. Look at Bharat. The only reason I have a beard is so that my IIT students respect me as a professor. If I shaved my beard, Bharat and I would both look like freshies at IIT. But on a serious note, what we have learned over the last decade of teaching entrepreneurship is that entrepreneurship education must be designed towards mindset and attitude development as well as venture creation. It demands actually a lot more work than a traditional course with traditional assignments. The students and aspiring entrepreneurs, as well as the team of faculty and administrators, have to put in extra effort in order to make this thing work. And the outcome may not be a venture immediately, but it definitely does bring a mindset change for proactive leadership roles, which will definitely change the student's career trajectory with great benefits for society worldwide. Now, all the panelists here are here because we love entrepreneurship and we love new things and new ways of doing things. Innovation. The panelists believe that IITians can be the biggest change agents for India and the world. And we want to empower you to succeed to the max. Bharat Desai needs no intro. Bharat founded Sintel over 30 years ago, and he grew it into a massive global business, a unicorn in every sense of the word. Professor Ravi heads the Center of Biomedical Innovation, as well as the Desai Sethi School of Entrepreneurship at IIT Bombay. He lives and breathes innovation and entrepreneurship. He has fostered dozens of medtech startups who have made life easier for thousands of people. Professor PVM Rao heads the Department of Design and a dozen entrepreneurial and innovation initiatives at IIT Delhi and across India. He has created platforms for innovation to come alive for our students. And myself, I was a serial entrepreneur for 25 years, took two of my companies to IPO, starting from 2 people or 3 people for billions of dollars of market capitalization. And I teach the foundations of entrepreneurship at IIT Bombay and IIT Gandhinagars. Been doing that for the last 5 years, and I've taught over 2,000 students the foundations of entrepreneurship. So Bharat, you have made a major commitment to promoting entrepreneurship and innovation at IIT Bombay. What was your motivation and vision?
Raj, first of all, I'd like to thank you for involving me in this panel. And I'm absolutely delighted to be addressing the tribe that I think is the coolest tribe of all, the tribe of IITians, students as well as alumni. Back to your question. Our entrepreneurial journey was so fulfilling that we asked ourselves, what can we do to help other bright, motivated, driven people to embark on journeys of their own? What can we do to codify the learnings of hundreds of entrepreneurs from across various fields and to capture that body of knowledge so that generations of entrepreneurs to come could take advantage of that? With that in mind, we started the School of Entrepreneurship at IIT Bombay. The response completely floored us. The speed of adoption, the hunger for knowledge of entrepreneurship, and the fast building ecosystem of entrepreneurial activity motivated and inspired us to significantly expand the program, including a School of Entrepreneurship, a building dedicated to the School of Entrepreneurship at IIT Bombay, a world-class building. Our shared vision with IIT Bombay is to make a game-changing difference to entrepreneurship in India.
But I think, I have seen the gift that you've given to IIT Bombay students over the last 5-6 years. And I can tell you that there couldn't have been a better gift that any IIT alum could have given its alma mater. So thank you very much. Professor Ravi, based on your experience as a researcher, innovation mentor, and now as head of the Desai Sethi School of Entrepreneurship, how do you see Bharat's vision shaping up? Looks like there may be some internet problems. So I'm going to have maybe Professor Rao answer a question first. IIT Delhi has had a very, very successful program in entrepreneurship for the longest time. What areas do you focus on teaching, and how will they benefit careers through their whole lifelong career, even if they opt for a corporate career?
Raj, thanks you asked this particular question. And also thanks to Pan IIT for this opportunity. Till a few years back, IITs did not have a strong ecosystem or a training for training students in entrepreneurship. But it's a completely different situation now. We have a very conducive environment with multiple opportunities for students. And what we are seeing that it's already yielding results. So let me share an example of a student who graduated 4 years back. When she came to IIT from a small town in Rajasthan, she was very nervous even to enter IIT. She was accompanied by her father, who was a farmer, and coming from a very conservative family, a Hindi medium student throughout, not able to speak English, and not able to understand many of the courses taught in English in the first semester. It took almost a year for her to understand and adjust to IIT system. Today, 4 years after graduation, she is a sole founder of a very respectable multi-million-dollar startup, trying to address agricultural supply chain issues for farmers to get better pricing for their produce. And she now actually manages a big team of professionals, gives TED Talks, and is selected as one of the Forbes 30 under 30. Let me tell you, this is not just one of the examples. We are going to see many more such examples of people who are in the making. And looking at the aspirations of these new generation of students, almost all IITs, it's not just IIT Delhi or Bombay, both old and new ones, are now consciously building this third academic pillar, which we call as the innovation and entrepreneurship. IITs had this teaching and research on their mind for long. Now there is a very strong third pillar, which is actually coming up. And apart from a lot of proactive initiatives which IITs have taken, there are two more things which is driving entrepreneurship in a big way. One is that it's a national priority now with a lot of schemes which are available. And to add it to this, we have large number of role models who are pretty young available for them to emulate. So the whole system is now a very different. Coming to the kind of courses which we have and the schemes. So now almost all IITs have new courses, new programs, and minor areas in entrepreneurship. Students and faculty are given seed grants. There are also pre-incubation fellowships which are available. Students can now take semester breaks, deferred placements, and there is also a lot of administrative support in terms of managing IP or technology incubation, transfer, or licensing. I'm sure alumni who are actually today, who are in 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, who are listening to our conversation, probably would be thinking, why did not they have the same opportunity which present generation of students have? And going ahead, we are particularly looking at entrepreneurial training from three perspectives. We expect that some of the students, a small percentage of students, would embark on entrepreneurship from day one after their graduation. They need a lot of support, particularly from alumni, in terms of pre-incubation fellowships, in terms of strong mentorship, because these are the group of people who have actually not seen the real world and they need a lot of mentorship. Second category, which is probably going to be a major, are those who would probably come back to entrepreneurship after a couple of years of their corporate life. And we have seen 15 plus unicorns which came up from IIT Delhi alumni, all have actually taken the similar route of working for a couple of years and then coming back. And lastly, the third category are those probably who may not be involved in venture creation or they may not be on the founding teams. But I am sure the training which is going to be important in entrepreneurship will inculcate entrepreneurial mindset, which will make them leaders wherever they are.
Yeah, no question about it. IIT Delhi has certainly got, a very solid process, and building it up as a third pillar is very impressive. But, let me kind of share in the same vein an interesting situation that happened with me. Since I was teaching entrepreneurship at IIT Gandhinagar, about 4 years ago, this student, the girl at IIT Gandhinagar, walks into my office and said, "Sir, I do not want to be an entrepreneur. So should I take your course?" And I said, "Rizu, if you take my course, I can give you a guarantee. In your first job, you'll get a 30% bump in salary and you will progress very rapidly up the corporate ladder." Rizu took the course and she bagged the second highest salary for her batch of more than 15 lakh rupees per year at Flipkart. And she has continued to do very well as I track her career on Facebook. I think the problem-solving mindset, the selling skills, the negotiating techniques, the communication skills, the third pillar that you just talked about, these are going to keep paying off for her entire career and for whoever takes the course and takes. But coming back to Professor Ravi, how do we? We are a much younger entrepreneurship program compared to IIT Delhi. But thanks to Bharat's gift, we got it going and it's really taken off very well. And you took over responsibility in the last 6 months to now take it to a real school of entrepreneurship. So please tell us how it's going to go.
So let me, first of all, thank all of you for having me here. And I was also thinking back about 30 years back when I was trying to convert my research work into an innovative product, which I did, but then also to start an entrepreneurship journey, which did not happen. And I failed in multiple ways. But I believe that at that point of time in the country, the word entrepreneurship or the startups were just, just words, and not even the ecosystem was just simply not there. But now I believe that the whole progression from research to innovation to entrepreneurship is a natural progression. In fact, we are thinking of coining the word reinvent. So research, innovation, entrepreneurship. But the valleys of death from concept to proof of concept to prototype to product to market, they are still there. These valleys of death are still very there, they are real. And the students today also face similar issues. Of course, ecosystem is, of course, much better. So what we are doing at the school is to create courses on entrepreneurship, finance, marketing, venture creation, and so on. Also coupled with the proof of concept, hands-on laboratories. And these are helping the students to, as Professor Rao said, get onto the journey immediately or maybe after a few years. But the mindset is, of course, helping them in their own careers in different ways. And I must add that more than 1,500 students have benefited from these courses in the last few years. Quickly, I also want to mention that the net result is that we have about now 28 startups from this school and then 16 startups from my Medical Device Innovation Center. And this whole experience and the kind of, you can say, knowledge that we are gathering now, we are now trying to codify and give it to others also, so we can now empower many more entrepreneurs in their journey. That's the direction that you're taking right now. So what I could not do in my lifetime, we are now able.
Yeah, so we are certainly experimenting and improving continuously our methodology for fostering student entrepreneurship at IIT Bombay. So Bharat, the entrepreneurial journey is a scary journey, right? It's not guaranteed. Success is not guaranteed. So students, I know a student asked you a question, which I thought was very important for future entrepreneurs to hear from you, which is, what happens to my career if my startup fails? Will big companies want to hire a failed entrepreneur after 2 years?
Great question, Raj. Let me assure you, any company that gets a chance would love to hire someone who had the courage and conviction to follow their idea and work really, really hard at trying to make it for a couple of years. There are skills and competencies that you build in this process that you simply cannot build any other way. And smart companies know this. Mm-hmm. However, you're right. The entrepreneurial journey is a tough journey. And every person should introspect deeply to decide if it is for him or her. While it is a thrilling ride, it has many, many ups and downs. In fact, to be totally honest, it has many, many more downs than ups. And to overcome those, the entrepreneur needs a lot of resolve and a very tough mindset. I was extremely fortunate that I had fantastic support from my family, and that kept me going. But there's a bright side, and I think that's what attracts entrepreneurs. The rewards are immense and extremely satisfying. Entrepreneurs make a difference in the world, and that is why I am so passionate about entrepreneurship.
Great. So I want a quick response from Professor Ravi, because a very good question has come in that I would like to also cover up, which is based on some surveys that you've done and experience that you've computed over the last few years. what do student entrepreneurs really need in terms of support from the organization and the alumni and kind of the extended IIT family to succeed? Unmute, please.
Yeah. So actually, we went back to these 44 startups, 28 from the school and then 16 from our Medical Device Innovation Center. We asked them, tell us what were your major challenges and major enablers also? What helped you to actually kickstart your journey? And do you know what just came up on the top? Overwhelmingly, number one reason, and the question is answered in the same word, is the mentors, okay? The senior mentors, both those who had gone through the journey themselves, put a product in the market, and then also more very senior entrepreneurs, industry professionals who knew specific domain skills or experience. These people were absolutely critical in kickstarting as well as speeding up the journey of these entrepreneurs. That is the one thing. But I must qualify immediately here. So this, when we say mentors, we picture something like these entrepreneurs are running a marathon, and these mentors are like running partners. They're supplying water and glucose and even oxygen if you need, but then cheering them all the way. So this is the kind of mentors we're talking about. Also, mentoring doesn't mean that you meet once in 6 months. It also means that you should be able to give them a 6 a.m. call because you are running a race and you can't wait. So this is, in my opinion, the most critical thing. I just want to add an additional thing that the kind of mentoring that you need before you incubate a startup, just pre-incubation stage, and of course, after you start up, are quite different. In the beginning stage, you're talking about how do you do the product market fit and how do you enter the market. Whereas after the incubation is done, the startup incubation, you're worried more about how do you actually make a difference, how do you raise money, and so on and so forth. So you need mentors also with different sets of skill sets to help these entrepreneurs. But this can go a very, very long way, and it is now proven by talking to these entrepreneurs.
Great. So Professor Rao, questions come in. I think we really need to answer this, which is when somebody gets into IIT, they get slotted into a department. You're a metallurgical student. You're a chemical engineer. You're a double E, whatever. But this future entrepreneur, and I think he's going to be successful because he's realized that a solution to any problem requires knowledge of multiple fields. Cross-disciplinary skills are, I think, mandatory or essential to succeed and develop solutions in the world we are living in and in the future. So how does anybody studying entrepreneurship at IIT Delhi or any of the IITs develop this cross-disciplinary mindset?
Yeah, it's a wonderful question. First thing is, I think the curricula helps a lot in this particular aspect. If you look at any of the IITs and let's say any specific branch, typically about 50% of the courses come from their own department and other 50 comes from various other departments. That itself is a very cross-disciplinary in terms of this thing. But what we are seeing is when we started about half a dozen courses, which are primarily do not belong to any department and cuts across various departments, we had a huge, I would say, enrollment in these courses. So these are the courses where you actually address the real world problem and work in teams, necessarily multidisciplinary teams. And at the end, you have a solution by the end of this particular course. These are most project-based courses. And these are yielding big results. And some of them are actually able to convert them also into ventures. And I think IITs, if they're able to do this interdisciplinary courses by design, I think there is a big thing to gain.
So Bharat, your Prime Minister Modi today said the IIT Tribe has amazing skills and experiences and networks in every field in the economy, industry, academia, even the arts, the government. So how do we harness them in order to accelerate the journey of entrepreneurs? And let's have you address not only just IIT entrepreneurs, but also, entrepreneurs all over India, right? How do we go ahead and harness this amazing network?
I totally and wholeheartedly agree with our Prime Minister that our alumni can and must play a huge role in this area. Let me set the context. Since its founding, India has invested huge amounts in creating IITs and delivering a world-class education to its best and brightest at practically no cost. India did this with the expectation that these young graduates would lead the country out of poverty. Today, India has a crying need for innovation and entrepreneurship to drive the economy forward and to lift 1 billion people out of poverty. The Prime Minister reminded us of this, and also that it is our responsibility to help India in this journey. I believe IIT alums can play a huge role. We have experts, like the Prime Minister said, in almost any field one could name. I believe alums can play a variety of roles. They can play mentors, professors, guest lecturers, VCs, angel investors, board members, advisors, subject matter experts. They can be involved any way they want or any way that they choose. But getting involved is not optional. I believe getting involved is a must. This is our call to action, and we have to respond to it.
Thank you. So let me kind of summarize the key takeaways from the session. I'm sure we could go on for another hour. For our students, our education must focus on creating an entrepreneurial mindset. And I think the interdisciplinary approach that I think Professor Rao talked about and making it a third pillar is very important. Second is, as Bharat said, to all alumni, we need to get involved with our IITs and also with other educational institutions and the youth of India, right? So do get involved. And finally, innovation and entrepreneurship need to become the third pillar of engineering education. No matter whether they want to start a venture tomorrow or whether they are going to do entrepreneurship, but in the kind of fast-moving world that we are all moving into, innovation, new ideas, championing new ideas are going to be fundamental. And the skills that this course offers, that academia offers at IIT on entrepreneurship, is going to be essential for your careers. So thank you very much. And thank you to all the panelists for participating.
It was an honor to be involved.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, everyone here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.